2,000 people have been injured or killed after a medical emergency occurred behind the wheel. But how often are the medically unfit getting behind the wheel in our state? It's a question we set out to answer 2 months ago. What Katie LeGrone discovered along the way is perhaps even more troubling.
There is no doubt a statewide program created to keep medically risky drivers off of roads like this one works. But we found cases where licenses should have been revoked but were not. The state allowing these drivers essentially back behind the wheel where they did not belong. You hit the road every day, aware of the dangers. But what about the risks you don't know and can't see coming?
Every time I think about it, I just get the chills.
Nearly 2 months ago,
This was mine, and then this one was his.
21-year-old Hayden Breeze lived to tell
I was like, what are you doing?
the moment before her 22-year-old boyfriend
And I look over at him, and he's having a seizure.
drove straight
He was wearing it the day he passed.
into a pond.
I look back, and we're in water. I'm just screaming his name, just trying to get him to come to.
Across Florida, medical emergencies have contributed to more than 8,000 crashes in the past 3 years, according to crash reports.
Being medically unfit is just as bad as being under the influence of drugs or alcohol.
Hillsborough County Deputy Milo Milovich investigates the cause of car crashes. Medical, he says, is hardly unusual here.
Epilepsy or seizures, uncontrolled diabetes, dementia, loss of consciousness, to name a few.
But we discovered a statewide program created to keep the medically unfit from driving in Florida has hit some bumpy roads. The state called out in this 2013 audit for failing to timely revoke licenses from medically risky drivers who failed to prove they were safe behind the wheel. One driver deemed incapable of driving didn't get his license revoked for more than a year. It's system failures the state blamed on human error and vowed to fix with automated systems. But fast forward to this year, and we found another state report showing nearly the same problems. In fact, of 50 cases examined by auditors, follow-ups didn't occur nearly 20%, leaving medically risky drivers still licensed to share our roads.
And that's dangerous.
Orlando neurologist Dr. Ira Goodman serves on the state board that decides who's medically unfit to stay licensed. Are you surprised at these findings?
No, based on the number of drivers we have.
Right now, the state is monitoring nearly 75,000 medically risky drivers. We can't tell you how often it fails to follow up on them. Medical records are private, which means our only insight into this issue is 2 state reports 5 years apart, but show similar problems.
It's the Dear David journal I wrote.
The night David Lemontagny sees behind the wheel, he never woke up.
Every time I miss him or just want to talk to him, I'll go on for pages sometimes.
Hayden knew of 2 prior seizures.
On 3/12/18, my life changed forever.
The state won't tell us if it knew David's history
It happened right in front of me.
or any other drivers whose medical story
I miss him so much. Everything reminds me of him.
it can't afford to lose track of.
So here he lives in my thoughts, random memories, anything I feel. I want to say to you, David, I love you most.
A spokesperson for the Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles tells us this latest review was initiated by agency leadership who recognized it had issues. Additional staff has been added to help promote oversight and accountability. Katie LeGrone, Fox 4 in your corner.